I always thought I was special. I always thought I was going to be the best player in the world. But thinking it and believing it are two different things.
Unreal performance from Rory McIlroy continues his run to greatness.
Who returns to #1.
And the champion golfer of the year is Rory McIlroy.
My mum worked night shifts at a local factory, and my dad at one stage was taking on 3 jobs during the day to support the family, but also support these trips that we were taking to the United States for me to play in golf tournaments.
Good hit.
At that point, I didn't realize the sacrifices or how much hard work they were putting into it. I saw my mum and dad a lot as a kid, but it was always on their own. My dad would look after me at nighttime while my mum was at work. And then my mum would send me off to school and see me when I came home from school every day. They say they were like passing ships in the night. And the only day during the week that we got to spend time together was on Sunday. Sometimes I thought to myself, why couldn't we be like a normal family where both parents work 9 to 5 and you sit down at the dinner table together? And that wasn't my upbringing, and I don't think I would have had it any other way. I have a great relationship with my dad, I have a great relationship with my mum, I have a great relationship with them both together, but I think my relationship with them as individuals is stronger because of the way I grew up and that dynamic. If you look at some of the best players in the history of the game, they've been only children, like Faldo, Tiger, myself. I'm not comparing myself to them in any way, but I think there is a trend. Spending time on your own and being comfortable in your own company, I think that's something that is very important in life, is to be comfortable in your own company and be comfortable with your own thoughts. I feel like I had a lot of that growing up, and I think that translated very well from being a kid to playing golf. You're on the golf course for 4 or 5 hours at a time with only your thoughts. I think it benefited me in some way, and it made me be more self-aware. I think that's a very important part of life, and I think I learned that from quite an early age.
Jerry devised a plan. He'd draw a card, and he'd change all the pars. So when Rory went out to play golf on the course, he was able to shoot under par. And I mean, how much confidence does that give a kid when he's out playing?
I would play the first few holes of Hollywood Golf Club, and the first 3 holes are 3 par 4s, and my dad would make them par 6s or 7s for me, and I make a 5, another 5, and maybe a 4, and all of a sudden I'm 4 under through 3 holes. I've never been afraid to go low, and I think sometimes guys get to a certain number on the golf course, whether it's 5 under through 11 or 6 under through 13 or whatever it is, you see a lot of guys just sort of hit the brakes. Because my dad did that, I've shot low scores from a young age, and I think that part of the reason is because at 4, 5, 6 years of age, my dad was telling me, oh, you shot 7 under that 9 holes, or whatever it is.
One person that's been incredibly loyal and very, very important in your development is Michael Bannon. How did that start?
Michael was the pro at Hollywood Golf Club, a family friend, a good friend of my dad's. For the first few years that I played golf, my dad was the one that taught me the grip and the follow through.
They came into the pro shop one day with Rory's clubs, and I said, Michael, would you put a grip on? And they were way up over his waist. So I took the club, I put it in the vise, and I chopped about 4 inches off it. And Jerry was in shock, and I put a small grip on it, and I handed it back to him, and he said, what are you doing? I says, Jerry, the clubs are far too long for him. And he looked at me and says, Michael, that's fine, I'll hand him over to you. That's great. You know, at that moment, he sort of said, like, okay, you can take care of him.
He's been coaching me for over 20 years, which is incredible to think about, but I would say some of the stuff we talked about 15 or 20 years ago is still some of the things that we talk about today. He's been huge in my career, someone that I can trust 100%, that will tell me the truth when it's needed. I definitely wouldn't be who I am as a golfer or a person if I didn't have Michael by my side for this journey.
He tells an interesting story where you magically put on like 30 yards in a couple of months, the driving range. You started hitting onto the putting green.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Obviously, I'm not a very big guy, but whether that was just a growth spurt. In those days, we didn't have the luxury of a TrackMan or launch monitors to really figure out what you needed to do to hit the ball longer. In a way, I always had a complex about length. You know, I wasn't a big kid, and I knew that I needed length all the time, and I needed to be able to hit it harder and hit it longer. I probably created this move from the inside myself, and I cleared my hips really hard, and I got this sort of double lag thing that goes on in my hips that's just something that I subconsciously did to try and get a bit of extra length and turn the ball over from right to left. I remember when I was 14 or 15, all of a sudden, it went from hitting the ball 250 to, hitting the ball 280. I feel like I've almost gotten longer each and every year that I've played. And nowadays in the modern game, that's a very important thing to have.
When did you know that you were special in the game?
The Irish national team hold like a warm weather training down in Portugal every year, and I got invited on that trip as a 14 or 15-year-old. We played a 6-round golf tournament, and these are the best amateurs in the country. Guys I hadn't played against before. I was still playing in boys tournaments and youths, and might have dabbled a little bit in the men's stuff. But we played a 6-round golf tournament, and I won that by 8 shots. I then went to the west of Ireland and won that tournament a couple of weeks after that. From there, when I was 15, my confidence just grew and grew. And then I played on the Irish national team as a 15-year-old, and then it was just this constant progress. At that point, I knew that I was on the path to being, at least making it as a pro, but I don't think I ever envisioned the heights that I would get to.